Hello there guys, welcome back to Eunice Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well. Personally, you know what, I think it's a great end to 2023. Could it be better overall? Yes, of course, but context, for this weekend specifically, and taking in charge the last game as well, and what went down on the last match day, I think I'd take this. Yeah, Chelsea have won again, and Arsenal have lost again. So, you know what's funny? I know I'm going to get some Arsenal fans going, but you're 10th. Relax. I will relax because at the end of the day, if you don't win the title, all you are a better placed loser. It's as simple as that. And right now, the way my club is being run, I will take it. Now, all jokes aside, I'm going to try and hit with what I truly feel and believe in relation to Arsenal's result today. We will get into some Chelsea news at the end of the video as well, so stay tuned. All the rivals want to know what's going on at Chelsea, I'll fill you in. Before we do though, I want to let you know, don't forget to keep up to date with all the content on here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and the notification bell to be notified with all the uploads as we head into the new year. I'm going to take a little opportunity very quickly to tell all of you Happy New Year. All the best and much wishes to all of you, your friends and your family. I will give you a proper Happy New Year at the end of this video. Stick around for it. Let's get cracking. Starting off with what went down at Craven Cottage today. Arsenal with a 1-0 lead, and it finishes Fulham 2, Arsenal 1. It's happened again. And I gotta be honest, I'm not surprised. Well, you can be a bit surprised with Arsenal falling in December. This normally happens in January, but it looks like Arsenal have been very punctual this season, and they've decided to show up a little earlier than usual. You know, normally past December, Arsenal are looking good. It gets into January, and then the decline begins. This time it started in December, and they're a little earlier than expected. I think it was always going to happen at some point, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect it this early. That's why I'm saying it's not surprising, but it's a little bit surprising because it's a little earlier than usual. But with the way that Arsenal are moving, look, I'm going to say it right now. Arsenal, you're not winning the league title. Simple as that. You're not. How can you? How can Arsenal win the league when they're putting on performances like we saw today and the last game when they lost their last one too? It's not sustainable. You're just not going to make enough ground. And with Man City having gone to the Club World Cup and are now looking at all of these results and thinking, you didn't exactly take advantage while we were gone now, you know? And although Man City have obviously been back on form, that's only going to continue. 100%. There was a gap that teams like Arsenal could have and should have, I say should have lightly, and I'll explain why, taken advantage while City were gone, and now, while City were on bad form as well, and now you best believe City are going to pick themselves up because they have things that Arsenal don't. Let's list them. They've got the manager, they've got the experience, and they've got the mentality. Simple as that. Arsenal, I'm going to lay it out for bare. Arsenal are still paying off negative dividends, if you want to call it that, on past seasons. And by sticking with Arteta. That's what I truly believe. I truly believe, and that's not to say that Arsenal are rubbish or Arteta is rubbish. No, but it's hit a ceiling. Arsenal will not get better than where they are now. That's it. You've hit that ceiling. If Arsenal want to get better, it's time. You've got to get rid of Arteta and you've got to go and get someone proper. By proper, I mean elite. If Arsenal are truly about going and winning the league now, you've got to actually go and get a manager that's going to be capable of winning you a league. Do you know what I mean? Arteta's not that. Arteta was always an experiment, and after a while now, we are still seeing that things are not completely in place for Arsenal to go and win the league. It's just not. And Arteta doesn't have anything to fall back on to be able to go and get that done for Arsenal. You see the problem? Arsenal are still paying consequences, as far as I'm concerned, from past seasons where they weren't buying correctly. They got in Arteta, who was basically an experiment. And they haven't got anyone in that team that was able to see them across the line who were winners, who have the mentality. And credit to Arsenal, over the last couple of seasons, they've started to recruit better. And they've actually started to go and get the sort of players that you'd think are of the caliber that they should have started off with those seasons ago when they decided Arteta was the man they were going to stick with. But that only started from last season. And I'll tell you, the turning point was when they got Zinchenko and Jesus from City. That is, for me personally, when I went, oh, okay, Arsenal might be starting to move a little more serious now. But before that, it was a joke. They got Declan Rice in, and I'm thinking, okay, all right. Those sort of signings are what should have happened 4 years ago. Actually, not even 4 years ago. We're talking more here. Arsenal have been in the mud for a long time. If we're talking about, trust the process, this was something that was being uttered years ago. And what have Arsenal had to show for it? Nothing. Where are Arsenal now? Yeah, you'd argue better than they were 4 seasons ago, better than they were 8 seasons ago, you could say, right, in terms of the capitulations we were seeing back then and the protests and all of that was happening back then. We all remember. But what do you have to show for it? Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like I said at the start of the video, if Arsenal are not on the path to actually trying to win the league title and are going to get the job done and cross that line, well, you're just a better placed loser than you were before. Arsenal, after all of this time, should be in a position where they are now fighting and looking like, yeah, you know what? They're going to go and win the league. And funnily enough, it looked like to an extent they were there last season, but they bottled it. And that's where we are seeing similar signs now, but we're seeing it earlier. And that is inexcusable. And this is why I honestly look at this Arsenal team. And like I've said, they're not rubbish. Arsenal not rubbish. And Arteta's not rubbish, right? But in the same way, and I can only reference my team because it's my team and I know it. In the same way that Chelsea couldn't go any further with Ranieri, and funnily enough, even Ranieri won a league title with Leicester all those years later, so there's that. But you get the gist, the change had to be made. Arsenal, the change has to be made. So the transfers and the players that they're going for, and I have to say the improvement in targets that they've made, fair enough, keep that going. But I truly believe Arsenal will not win the league under Mikel Arteta. It's not happening. It's not happening. If they were to take this team and give it to, and I can only, as an example, this isn't going to happen because he just signed a new contract a couple of days ago, but if they were to give this Arsenal team to Ancelotti, well, bloody hell, I'm putting Arsenal up there as one of the favourites. Instantly. Because you just know. That's what's needed. In a league where you've got Pep at City and Klopp at Liverpool, I'm sorry, you need an elite gaffer to give yourselves a chance to go and win the title. You can't do it any other way. It's not going to happen. So this is where I look at Arsenal and I honestly believe, yes, transfer strategy has improved, targets have improved. There are even some people that would argue, has it though? Last season, they didn't have Declan Rice. They do this season, but they're looking worse in terms of in terms of consistency, right? But I think Declan Rice is a top player. And he can go a few games maybe out of form. That can happen. But I'm saying the targets overall have improved. Arsenal going to go and get Ivan Toney, I would reckon. It's going to be high money, but this is the reality of the game. If you want top players, you pay top dollar. So it's probably best to go and get that done this January and to not fall behind. But like I said, the negative dividends from those seasons past where Arsenal should have been moving in terms of their transfer strategy, how they are now and from last season, if that had been done earlier with a better manager, I feel like Arsenal would be up there right now with City and Liverpool and, and I mean, not just up there in league position, but up there with everyone looking and going, no. They could win the title, It's not all just City. No, Arsenal are definitely on their level. Arsenal are not on their level. Let's be honest. They're not. In the same way that we honestly expect Aston Villa to maybe dip, Aston Villa are moving mad, right? It's the same way that we know Arsenal have already started dipping and they will continue to dip. And Arsenal will finish in the top 4. But this is the question, Arsenal fans, is that enough for you? After all these years, is that enough for you? Arsenal, remember, have not won the league since 2004. I was going to say 2003, but it was a 2003-04 season, right? 03-04. 20 years. This season is 20 years since Arsenal lifted a league title. Are you content with that? Are you, do you know what I mean? So, Arsenal, look, I'm not expecting anything this season from them. And like I've said, there are going to be gooners that say, but you're Chelsea, you know, I mean, where are you in the league? You guys are mudded. I know. And I've called out my club on multiple occasions, but what's the difference between us and you at the end of the season if you've not won that league title? Say at the end of the day, we've won the Carabao Cup, and Arsenal have not won a league title, and they've not won any trophy, but they finished in the top 4. Who has truly had the better season, should we say? Question's got to be asked. At the end of the day, you're just a better loser. And Arsenal should be in a position where they are now. They've had enough time. They definitely have had enough time in a position where they should be realistically competing for the league. And some would argue they are, trust me, not enough. Not enough. This goes to show why the whole trust the process, line that is always dashed by many people nowadays. Trust the process when it's being done properly. When you've got an elite manager in place, when you've got, yes, a bunch of young players that have tons of promise and potential, but you've got winners and mentality in that team with a proper manager, absolutely trust the process at that point. That's still not Arsenal. That's still not Arsenal. No. In the same way, like I'd say it's not Chelsea, is the same way I'll say it's not Arsenal. And Arsenal, realistically, after all this time, should be there. So, let me know your thoughts down below. Very poor performance today against Fulham. Credit to Fulham, by the way. Credit to Fulham and Marco Silva and the way that's set up. I mean, even, look, players like Willian are balling at his age. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. So, fair play to Fulham. Tons of their players were just on another level today. They were winning every first ball, every second ball. Tactically, they looked superior. They had tons of space. They were moving it quick. They were confident. Unbelievable. So fair play, Fulham. Credit deserved. Let me know your thoughts on Arsenal in the comment section below. And for the Chelsea lot that are watching, here's a little bit of the latest before we wrap up. Let's get into it. Chelsea are looking to bring in as many as 4 new faces when the window opens, with a striker as priority. That's from the Daily Mail. Funnily enough, Fabrizio's come out with this as well. Ian Maatsen has interest from Borussia Dortmund and has chances to leave the club in January. Trevor Chalobah is one to watch for the second half of the transfer window. I expect both of those players to leave. Trevor Chalobah is definitely leaving. And Ian Maatsen, I think, definitely leaving as well. Borussia Dortmund, I would probably have him nailed on to go to. And when you're looking at some of the other players that could potentially leave, we've already heard in terms of who could possibly leave. Realistically, right now, the other 2 players that seem like could leave in the window look ludicrous on paper, right? Gallagher and Madueke, who's now hitting form. After the last 2 games, I wouldn't want to see either of them leave. But Chelsea are looking to bring in 4 new faces, which means that players are going to be leaving. Are 4 new faces realistically going to come in? Look, I'm not against 4 new faces coming in. I've said the strategy needs to change. And look, like I've said, the example with Arsenal, we need to do our business correctly because we've not been doing our business correctly. Our recruitment has been horrific. Yeah. But at least, we've got all the young players that we reckon have potential. We've got that nailed on. That's in the squad. Fine. We don't need to do more of that. Yeah. That's there. You've done that. Cool. Go and get experience, mentality, and winners that can come in and lay down a foundation, lay down a spine, and set the example both on the pitch and off the pitch in terms of how to get the job done, how to see out wins, how to win, and how to instill that mentality, how to not panic into these young lads that need to learn how to do it. We need to be able to go and get that pedigree in. And if that is what Chelsea are going to do, then fair enough. Fair enough. But my concern is that's not what they're going to do. And like I've just criticised Arsenal about taking too long to get their transfer business up in order, is how I reckon Chelsea are probably going to go for another bunch of 19-year-olds. Which I will not have. I'm sorry. No, we've done enough of that. Stop. Varane apparently is up for sale at Man United. Now, I'm not saying go and get Varane. If he was a couple of years younger, and some would argue go and get him now, right? If we're getting rid of a centre-back and Thiago Silva's leaving, you know what, Varane? Why not? Why? Look at what he's won. He's won La Liga. He's won the Champions League. He's won Super Cups. He's won World Cups, club and country. He's won individual awards. He's won. I mean, that's the sort of pedigree that Chelsea are screaming out for players to set an example to the young lads that we have in terms of tons of potential. Do you get what I mean? Now, I'm not saying, like I've said, just go and get Varane. That's not going to be the guy that's going to fix everything. Of course not. But it's that sort of level that Chelsea need to be looking at in order to fix the squad for what it is right now. So let's see what we do in January. That's around the corner now. And because it's around the corner, I bid all of you farewell. And I wish every single one of you Happy New Year. Look, Chelsea fans, non-Chelsea fans, gooners who hate me for what I've said today, all of you, honestly, from me to you, footballing opinions aside, anyone that's watching, whether you like me or you don't, I'm wishing you Happy New Year to all of your friends and your families. I honestly wish all of you success, happiness, and health into 2024. And well wishes, enjoy your new year, have a good one, go crazy, enjoy yourselves, and I'll see all of you on the other side tomorrow, where, not tomorrow, there will be a video, it'll be, as usual, later on in the day, but there will be a video, so make sure you guys are here for that, and to be here for that, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Check out Shootout as well, link in the description. There will be videos up there tomorrow, as we do wrap up and go over our thoughts, me and George, with Arsenal, and all the games that happened earlier on today and this weekend, so make sure you guys are there for that, much appreciated. Once again, Happy New Year, have a good one, and I'll see all of you tomorrow in 2024. Have a good one, people. See you lot then. Take care and peace.